Good morning. Good morning. What is up, folks? How's everybody doing this morning? Hope you're all doing well. Let's see. Oh, I guess, was somebody doing a live ER last night. No, that's cool. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well this morning. It is Thursday morning, August the 29th. JTW here with you for our last FOMO live stream of the week. Hope everybody's had a good week so far. We'll take a look at how NVIDIA responded to that ER that was released last night. And then we'll go through our trade plans that we've done so far this week, as far as the ones that we knocked out Tuesday, those that we did over the weekend. We'll get our bearings here using the ES chart in just a moment. But of course, we will be doing live trade planning here this morning. So if you have a ticker request, please make sure that you drop those in the chats, either in the YouTube chat or in the Discord chat. I'm trying to keep my eyes on all of the above so I can make sure that we're taking care of everybody in the Xtrades community, both within our Discord and those who join via YouTube. So let's dig in and get started on what we're seeing here from a ES perspective, trying to get some sense or get our bearings with the markets, and things are kind of still in this range, right? We talked about this on Tuesday. We've got this pretty large demand zone below, supply zone overhead that we've tested a couple of times and that it has failed to break through a couple of times. With NVIDIA reporting earnings last night, and earnings were overall positive. Not a massive beat, but I think expectations were extremely high. So the fact that things came in line or better, I think is a really strong side for the near and long term for NVIDIA. The other thing that you'll want to keep in mind with regards to some things that came out in the NVIDIA earnings report last night is the fact that they will be doing, I believe it was a $50 billion share buyback, which will be a massive amount of shares being bought back, which will elevate that share price, which is, kind of a tip of the cap to the shareholders. But the stock price moved down in response to what happened on the earnings report last night. So definitely an excellent buy the dip opportunity here, in my personal opinion, on NVIDIA, if you weren't already. And what's up on N Reviews? Good morning to you, and same to everybody else watching currently. If you have a moment, stop and say hello. Would love to say good morning back. We'll take a look at Lulu for you for sure on N Reviews. I'm guessing they have earnings coming up, and who doesn't love the way a pair of Lulu pants looks, right? Or feels. I'm actually wearing Lulus right now, coincidentally. So not the girls kind though, the comfy guys loungy pants. All right. Enough about my clothing choices. So again, NVIDIA earnings last night, dipped on the earnings. I think, if it wasn't a massive beat, there was a pretty decent chance it was going to see a pullback, but it came in line, which I think was a strong performance and actually slightly better than in line. Announced that share buyback, which is going to be massive for the share price over the next several months. I don't think they said there was a specific timeline on it either. So they could continue to buy these shares up in tranches as they see the need to do so. But certainly I would expect some analyst upgrades to come out, and NVIDIA probably going to perform well, which should, going back to kind of the ultimate point here, should get things moving through this supply zone overhead, would be my guess here on ES. We do have some selling pressure here on Neptune that we've got to fight through as we enter that supply zone. But I think once we clear over 56.66, I would be very surprised if we didn't see a continuation in some pattern on up to current all-time highs. So, keep your eye on things. Make sure that you are, allowing this to guide your thought process and your bias as far as whether or not you want to be buying the dip or looking to put in hedges or sell tops, whatever the case might be. What's up, CKZ? What's up, Boo Boo? Good to see everybody. So let's get into some trade plan reviews. NVIDIA, we just talked about them a moment ago. Clearly, this one with the earnings report coming into play has moved significantly to the downside. We did talk, or I mentioned this in the chat yesterday. We finally got our first test of the 200 SMA here on the hourly in a while. So, kind of got overextended for a little bit there. We did get that test yesterday. I did say, I would expect to see that get bought up. It got bought up within that hourly candle by several dollars. So hopefully you guys caught that and took advantage of it from what I was calling out in the chats. What's up, Sataru? How are you? Good morning to you as well. We do have a gap to fill below now that tops off this 118.90 level that I already had in place. That's kind of a quick tip as far as gaps go. They tend to do one of two things. They either develop at existing support and resistance levels, or they establish new ones. Again, that's not 100% all the time. Nothing is in the world of trading, but I would say anecdotally, you'll see that more often than not. Let's just check where this, that's actually sitting right there. And this one's sitting just below this level, so I could maybe have a level that's just a tad high right there. So we do have a small gap to fill to the downside from 118.90 to 117.26 as NVIDIA has recovered from that sell-off overnight. We may not revisit that gap. It may just continue up, but if we do get a pullback and it does fill that gap down to 117.26, I would certainly be looking to buy the dip there often on NVIDIA. But overall, before the earnings report played out, gave us all of our price targets to the downside off our entry at 129.03 all the way down to 126.10. And then obviously with earnings coming into play, that continued down much lower. But we're starting to see NVIDIA take the stairs and maybe even a little bit of the, we'll call it the escalator, back up through some of these levels. So keep an eye on NVIDIA to recover, again, especially over the long term. I think that this is a good one to watch with that $50 billion share buyback that they will be executing over the next undetermined period of time. Microsoft was also on our member selected trade plans. This one gave us a back test of our put entry, broke down, got almost all three targets during the cash session. God, I don't know why that's so hard to say. It's like judicial system. But the low of that candle right there, 407.31, 406.97, I'd say that's a little bit close. It's close to a hit, but not as close as I'd personally like to see it. So I don't know if I want to take a ton of credit for all targets hitting there during the cash session, but we did see it get tested after hours, and that has since bounced us and also created a gap below for Microsoft here. Also kind of a similar setup, right? I just talked about this on NVIDIA. If this doesn't kind of quickly prove my point, we saw it on NVIDIA, we see it here on Microsoft, right? This gap forming at existing levels. So if you're trying to find support and resistance levels on your charts, finding these extended hours gaps can be a pretty helpful tool to kind of perhaps shortcut your way to finding some levels that would play well moving forward. So Microsoft, again, all targets hit almost. Bouncing back up, looking for another back test of 414.76 will be interesting to see if it can reclaim that as support. If it can, let's just take a look at this. Yeah, we got the 333 SMA overhead there on the 15 minute. So I'd say if it can get back over that 414.76, that would clear out a pretty decent confluence of resistance there, and it could continue higher as far as Microsoft is concerned. So keep an eye on it. But overall, downside played out very nicely, same as NVIDIA. But a little bit more measured because Microsoft wasn't getting ready to report earnings this week, and a massively anticipated earnings this week as far as the NVIDIA earnings report goes. Snow, we had this one on watch. Again, I talked about this on Tuesday. Was a little bit annoyed that we didn't quite get to PT1. However, looking at this on the 15 minute here, we did have the 200 SMA that was potentially creating that resistance prior to getting to our target. So again, I definitely fell short of the target. But one thing I would say is make sure that as these trades are moving to the upside and getting close to the targets, that you're at least moving your stops up to avoid letting green trades go red. But just kind of, I don't know, kind of frustrated by the fact that this didn't make it all the way to that first price target before we saw a pullback on it. Again, that could just be analyst error on that. Or could be that this 200 SMA was in the way and I just didn't catch that as far as looking through some of the time frames to prepare the plan. But we did get a recovery as far as that upside trade was concerned here with this downside move where we got our break below and back test about an hour into the market cash session yesterday. Back tested our entry there at 113.24 and went all the way down to 110.36, caught our first price target beautifully, bounced from there a little bit going into close, dipped below there, probably following NVIDIA a little bit, and also following NVIDIA and Microsoft, small gap up and trying to push back through some key levels here this morning with snow. So keep it on watch. And then Abercrombie and Fitch, this was for unknown reviews on Tuesday. This one dropped hard off its earnings report, 17% drop there yesterday pre-market. Yeah, played through all of our price targets. So unknown reviews, I don't know if you were leaning bearish or bullish on this one or if you decided to actually execute anything on it, but this one I'm sure exceeded the implied move. So if you did play downside, this one would have actually printed for you more than likely as far as earnings reports go. That's interesting. Looks like TradingView might be implementing a little, that kind of looks like the Gemini symbol, a little AI into their chart data. That's a pretty smart move on TradingView's part. I just noticed that. I've not seen that before. Then we had Taiwan Semiconductor. This one did play out beautifully after hours. So if you were trading shares on it, congratulations. If you wanted to trade this with options, really couldn't have done anything with it. But we did this trade plan on Tuesday. Tried to break out pre-market, but ultimately opened the day below our call entry level, came down, tested the put entry bounce, so played that range beautifully, but came back up, caught that key selling zone on Neptune, dumped down after hours, all the way to PT2 for puts, but before you could have even done anything about it as far as, before you could have done anything about it from even entering from an option standpoint. If you were shorting shares, though, you could have played down to that second price target and probably moved your stops up to PT1 and been out on any remaining positions before this gap up against you continued. Really interesting confluence of resistance here at 168.93. I'd say if we see TSM struggle with that 168.93 level this morning as we go into the open and shortly after the open, I would say at least give it 15-30 minutes to let things settle a bit. See if 168.93 is still acting as strong resistance. If it is, could be a good short entry, and see if we get a replay of this PT2. I would certainly scale out heavy there. We could see a double bottom off that potentially. So anyway, TSM plan worked beautifully, just not during hours where at least options traders were able to do much about it. And then Rocket Companies, Rocket Mortgage, this one has been a no trade so far, but is catching a really nice bounce here pre-market off of our put entry key support there at 1935. So this is one where if you wanted to start building up a share position, I'd say in this range, as long as we aren't, flying through any levels before market open, which I don't anticipate will happen, building up your position in this 1970 to 1935 range and getting it started here would be a great spot to do that. And then look for it to continue to push higher. 2148, I think, would be a good target if you're willing to be patient and hold those shares for a little while. All right, so let's get to some new trade plans this morning. We had Lulu bright and early from unknown reviews. Let's take a look at what Lulu has for us. All right. So, earnings report coming up after hours. Stocks down 50% over the year. Maintain a buy by Truist. That's pretty helpful little nuggets that they're dropping there. Tip of the cap to TradingView. Nice little feature add improvement, if you will. All right, so let's figure out what we want to do with Lulu. That's weird. Why didn't Let's refresh this. Sometimes TradingView just has issues loading the indicators. It's not often, but it does happen. There we go. All right. Take a look at this big picture first, because it's been a little while. Nice bounce off of this kind of, so if I kind of draw a level, it's the last weekly level on my chart before you get into no man's land. I'm kind of like, that should be ultimate support. We shouldn't need levels below that, but if we break below it, I'll start adding them. Caught that weekly level beautifully there a couple weeks ago. Early August. What was the low of that week? 226.01. So a little lower than it looks like here on the chart, but again, big picture, it's a beautiful bounce. All right, so we may need levels below that. However, it looks like it is really kind of on the struggle bus at the moment, big picture. And it is down, I think this tidbit said 50% this year. So over the last 9 months, essentially, a 50% drop in share price. That's significant. But could be right for a bounce. Definitely looking pretty low on the RSI from a weekly perspective, at least. Yeah, that dip was, as we zoom in, a little bit lower, but overall, probably just a liquidity sweep before it moved higher, very close to our level. All right, so what do we want to do with this Lulu trade plan? That's an interesting level right there. 292.32. So what I'm thinking is there could be a good entry on this. Man, that's such a... It looks closer than it is on this still kind of zoomed out chart. Let's take another look. Just trying to figure out, well, we are getting the 200 crossing over the 333 here, so signs of bullishness, although the 333 needs to bottom out and start curling up for this to become a recovery move, in my opinion. There could be an entry here over 263.25. That would be an interesting level to see it recover. Yeah, right about here, 263.13. I know I'm probably splitting hairs a little bit. I think that'll give us a shot at that 271.27, possibly before earnings gets reported. On a earnings excitement kind of or earnings anticipation, if bulls want to step in and start buying it. 256.13. Yeah, I've not gotten into some of these smaller time frame levels down at, or smaller time frame, yeah, levels down in this range. Because again, I kind of saw, last time I looked at Lulu, we were way, way, way far away from any of this. So did not get into the smaller time frames. But I think that's actually a little higher. I think this sits right here. Let's see how that looks. Yeah. So that'll give us our entry and our stop loss and our first price target there at 271.27. Second price target, I do kind of like it at 279.32. This was another existing, looks like that was a put downside target for a break below 289.46 from the last time we did a trade plan on Lulu. Then over that, there is a level sitting right about here that I don't have that we would want to definitely pay attention to as a third price target. Very close to that weekly level as well. So probably a worthy place to go ahead and finish taking profits to the upside. So that's the upside trade plan sorted. Downside, where does that really kind of open up is the question. Yeah, it's made some interesting and aggressive moves down in this range. It does get interesting for more downside below this 245.84, but I think anything before then could be premature, although, you know what? No, I take that back. We've got an opportunity to get in a little bit earlier here at 251.73. Were you leaning bullish or bearish on it? Unknown reviews, since I know you said you didn't play it, but I was just curious if you were leaning the right direction or if it was a good thing that you didn't play it. Bearish, yeah, okay. There is another level in here I think we should use. It's a second price target, 240.42. Third target, yeah, I think it's looks more like this 230.251 level. Let me just check this real quick though. And then I think we'll have this locked in. Just want to see if we can even go back that far to see if that level, how that level behaved in the past. If there's really something where I think there's something. Yeah. Seeing signs of it. Could be just slightly higher, like right there. Let's see how that looks on the current. Yeah, I like that small adjustment there. Okay, cool. So here are the Lululemon trade plans. All right. So there they are in the YouTube chat and in the Discord chat, and I will also post these in the options watch list. All right, so what are we looking for on Lululemon? We are looking for a break over 263.13 with targets at 271.27, 279.32, and 287.66 with a stop loss average down at 256.47. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 251.73 with targets at 245.84, 240.42, and 232.73 with a stop loss average down, shared with the upside trade plan at 256.47. Those are your Lulu trade plans. Let's go. All right. So let me get back over to the live stream chat. And let's, hey, Discord isn't working for me. Probably just me, though. Okay. Sorry to hear that, Fred. I hope everything's, yeah, it says voice connected. Looks like I'm sharing my, stream paused. That's weird. I don't know why the stream got paused on Discord. Sorry for that, folks. If you didn't catch that, I'll recap it here really quickly. We're looking for a break over 263.13 on Lulu with targets at 271.27, 279.32, and 287.66. Stop loss average down at 256.47. Downside break below 251.73 with targets at 245.84, 240.42, and 232.73 with a shared stop loss average down there at 256.47. Again, my apologies if my stream got paused on the Discord side of things. I didn't. Well, yeah, I can't share my whole screen, Chris, because it's like it's like a ultra wide monitor. It's 49 inches wide. So if I shared that, it would look crazy for people. So I just moved the trading view to one half of the window and share the window. So no, that typically works. I think somehow just the stream got paused inadvertently and I didn't notice or realize that. I think is what happened. But anyway, let's push through. I think we're good to go. NTNX. Is that Nutanix or something like that? God, I can't believe I know that. It's sad. I don't even know what Nutanix does or why they exist. What is Nutanix? Apparently, I've looked at this chart some time ago, and I don't really. This looks like I don't know what I was doing with those drawings at all. All right. Oh, is it still? It's just what it shows on Discord. Stream paused. Stop pausing. Swap to your application to resume. I am in my application. I don't get it, Discord. All right, let's do this. Sorry, folks. Let me just stop the screen share. Change windows. Let's do that. Yeah, I don't know why Discord went stupid with that. My apologies. I can't see a reason why that would have happened. Did it do it again? Oh, okay. No, it looks like it's good. I think it's because I'm trying to maybe split. Like I've got half of my screen split in half. And then I've got the other half of the screen with trading view. So I think we've got it squared away. My apologies to folks watching on Discord. I did not realize that for whatever reason, Discord didn't like something I was doing there. All right, so Nutanix, good beats yesterday after hours, moved up despite some other tech sector tickers moving down. That's a pretty positive sign. 27 cents a share, up from 24 cents a share. Revenue of 548 million. That's 11% increase. Raised price target to 75 from 70 while outperform. It's trading in the 60s. Okay, all good stuff. We are close to earnings, so generally speaking, I recommend to observe a 3-day rule. Don't touch these. Let things settle down for at least 3 days after the earnings have been reported. But we can also just excuse me, develop a plan and stick to it. Right? Charts will precede the news and tend to supersede any kind of near-term catalyst as long as we've got a well thought out plan in place. So let's see what we can figure out with Nutanix. All right. There is a weekly level here that it is held on this recent test before going into that earnings report. All right, where is this level? Looks like there wants to be something right in here, but hard to see on the weekly chart. So let's just placeholder this for now. That looks like a decent weekly level. Interesting double top there, but again, just a placeholder. That's current all-time highs. Want to keep that on watch. This level sits a little lower, like right there. And do we have anything else in this range? Yeah, there is something right about here. And there. Yep. I like that one too. Okay. Starting to look like a readable chart here. Let's see. Might need one more downside level that I'd want to pay attention to. Yeah, it's sitting right here as I look at this. All right. So, can we make heads or tails of these placeholder levels? That's generally step one for me when we see these. Interesting that that rejection came short of that. And there is a concentration of resistance there. Let's see if we've got, just trying to see, no other tests of that range. All right, I'm going to leave that where it is as a placeholder for now. I'm not totally convinced on where that's going to set itself up for us nicely. So we'll see as we go through some other time frames. This one was close to a potential daily level. I think it is a daily level if we make this adjustment to it. Interesting wick off of prior resistance there. That set up this move going into the earnings report to the upside. Is there actually a level there is the question. Yeah, there's something there for sure on the daily. All right. Let's finish reading these levels, at least on the daily, and then we'll go down, kind of fast forward to the hourly chart and finish our plan from there. All right. Definitely an interesting flip of support and resistance there. And do we have maybe one more level right here? Yeah. Okay. Let's see where that puts us. I think that's pretty good shape. All right, so like I said, let's fast forward. Let's get this trade plan in place. So earnings just released, ran up near that 67.24 level that we actually didn't finish nailing down. I do want to figure out where that sits specifically. Or what level is there? Yeah, there's something. It's right about here on the 4 hour. I don't think we're going to have anything else to help with establishing that, but yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so we rejected that 4 hour level there at 66.97 off that earnings report spike. There is a nice support bounce there that led to all-time highs over 63.78. So I think what I would do on this is I'd wait for 66.97 to break. I think that's pretty key for continuation where we rejected off that earnings report. We can then flip. I was thinking about using 63.78 as an entry, but I think that's too aggressive, especially being this close to the earnings report. That clearly gives us targets and our next two levels there. Third target will be a fib extension. Off this. Yeah, that's, well, hang on, I want to redraw this, but I want to zoom in a little bit more. I want to see where these levels are hitting since we haven't totally mapped this out. Let's take another look at it. Trend-based fib extension off of here. Well, I've got that all-time high, and if we want to factor in extended hours, it's actually a little bit higher, which I think we should. In which case, that sets up pretty nicely. Now the question is, do we just push right through that extended hours all-time high, or do we go for our first fib extension for new true all-time high at 77.45? I think breaking that cash session all-time high there at 73.54 is going to be probably significant. So I say let's take a shot at going for 77.47 on the breakout there for our third price target to the upside. All right, so for downside, yeah, I'd want to see a break below 58.09. Stop loss it here at 60.34. First target, fill of this fair value gap to the downside to 54.13. And then on down to, yeah, I think we've just got the levels 1, 2, 3 here. $49.36. All right, so here are the Nutanix trade plans. And let's actually, before I get ahead of myself here, see if there's anything indicator-wise that changes my mind or perspective or confirms anything. Nothing that changes my mind. Everything looks pretty good. 15-minute does confirm a move from the downside below 58.09. That loses all the bullishness on Neptune until we get down for that 200 SMA test, which is sitting right at PT1. So I like those confluent setups. So, all right, looks good. Let's get these posted in the chats. Here is NTNX live stream plans. And get it posted over in the morning live stream chat and in the options watch list. All right, so what are we looking for here on Nutanix after reporting earnings yesterday after hours, which were overall positive? We're looking for, and also resulted in some price target upgrades. We're looking for a break over 66.97 to continue to the upside without getting trapped potentially in some kind of a bull trap before we get a confirmed break and continuation potential. So over 66.97, we're looking for targets at 70.93, 73.54, and 77.47 with a stop loss average down at 63.78. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 58.09. That should give us targets at 54.13, 51.48, and 49.36 with a stop loss average down at 60.38. Those are your Nutanix trade plans. All right, we are 20 minutes out from market open. I do have a few extra things I need to take care of this morning before the market opens, so we're going to wrap this up maybe about 5 minutes early today. My apologies for cutting things slightly short, but I do have a handful of things I've just got to take care of before market opens. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us once again for the FOMO live stream from Xtrades. JTW here, enjoying these mornings with you guys. I hope you're enjoying them as well. Please come back next Tuesday morning after the long holiday weekend. We'll be back on at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as always. And with that, as we always say here on the FOMO live streams, plan your trades and trade your plans. Keep your wins big, keep your losses small. Go out there and get some green. I will see you guys in the chat. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic long weekend. See you next Tuesday and see you in the chats in the meantime. Take care. Talk to everybody soon. Thanks again.